Short Story 128, The Interview, Chapter 1. The rain hammered against the rickety train window, blurring the desolate landscape outside. Maya gripped the worn leather seat, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She glanced nervously at the lone passenger across from her, an old woman shrouded in a thick woolen shawl, her face obscured by the shadows. This wasn't supposed to happen. Maya, a budding journalist on a shoestring budget, had planned a quick weekend trip to interview a reclusive author living in a remote village. Now, thanks to a cancelled bus and a series of missed connections, she found herself on a deserted night train, hurtling towards who knows where. A sudden jolt as the train screeched to a halt sent shivers down Maya's spine. The lights flickered, plunging the carriage into an eerie darkness. Panic surged through her. Peering out the window, she could barely make out a ramshackle station platform, devoid of passengers or staff. The old woman shifted in her seat. "End of the line, dear," she rasped in a voice like dry leaves rustling. A shiver danced down Maya's spine. "This is where you get off." Maya hesitated. "But my stop isn't for another hour." The old woman chuckled, a low, unsettling sound. "Plans change, child. Sometimes fate has other destinations." Before Maya could protest, the carriage door hissed open. A gust of cold, damp air swept in, carrying the scent of pine needles and something else, something metallic. Maya strained her eyes into the darkness. A tall, hulking figure stood on the platform, shrouded in a hooded cloak. Fear threatened to consume her, but Maya forced herself to act. "Thank you," she said to the old woman, her voice trembling slightly, "but I think I'll wait for the next train." The old woman's smile was a chilling sight in the dim light. "There won't be a next train, dear. Only one arrives here, and one departs." She gestured towards the figure on the platform. "Go now. He doesn't like to be kept waiting." Maya's stomach lurched. With a deep breath, she grabbed her backpack and stepped off the train. Her boots sunk into the muddy ground as she approached the cloaked figure. "You must be Maya," he croaked, his voice like gravel scraping against stone. "The author is expecting you." The figure turned, revealing a gaunt face etched with deep wrinkles and eyes that gleamed with an unnerving intensity. Maya's throat tightened. This wasn't right. Something about this entire situation felt terribly wrong. But she had come too far to turn back now. With a forced smile, she said, "Yes, that's me. Lead the way." They walked in silence through the rain-soaked woods, the only sound their footsteps crunching on fallen leaves. The path twisted and turned, leading deeper into the darkness. Doubt gnawed at Maya's resolve. Where exactly were they taking her? Finally they emerged into a clearing dominated by a towering Gothic mansion. Its windows were dark, and the silence was so profound it felt heavy in the air. A shiver danced down Maya's spine. This wasn't the quaint cottage she'd envisioned for a reclusive writer. The cloaked figure pushed open the heavy oak door, revealing a grand entrance hall lit by flickering candles. An old man with a kind but weary face stood waiting. "Mr. Blackwood?" Maya ventured, a flicker of hope lighting up her face. The man smiled. "Indeed. Come in, Maya. I've been expecting you." Relief washed over her. This was all a misunderstanding. But as Maya stepped inside, the cloaked figure loomed over her, his hand resting on a large, wicked-looking knife strapped to his hip. A knot of dread formed in her stomach. Maybe the nightmare had just begun. To be continued. Vocabulary notes. Rickety. Weak and likely to collapse. Example, the rickety train window rattled in the wind. Desolate. Empty and abandoned. Example, the rain hammered against the window, blurring the desolate landscape outside. Frantic, wild and uncontrolled. Example, Maya gripped the worn leather seat, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Shrouded, covered or hidden completely. Example, an old woman shrouded in a thick woolen shawl. Cancelled, called off or stopped. Example, thanks to a cancelled bus and a series of missed connections. Jolt, a sudden jerky movement. Example, a sudden jolt as the train screeched to a halt sent shivers down Maya's spine. Eerie, strange and frightening. Example, the lights flickered, plunging the carriage into an eerie darkness. Rasped, spoken in a harsh, rough voice. Example, end of the line, dear, she rasped in a voice like dry leaves rustling. Lurch, to move suddenly and clumsily. Example, the carriage lurched forward as they departed. Gaunt, thin and bony. Example, a gaunt face etched with deep wrinkles. Unnerving, making you feel nervous or anxious. Example, eyes that gleamed with an unnerving intensity. Story written by Google Bard AI. Image created by desgo.com AI. Hello, this is Steve. If you enjoyed this story, please would you take the time to leave a meaningful comment and click on the like icon. If you want to know when the next story has been uploaded, please click on the notify bell icon to be notified. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tell your English learning friends so they can benefit too. Thank you.